There we go. We just went ahead and turned it off. We're going to find out how well it works. Today is 5/10, April 10th. I'm sitting in Ohio watching a storm come in. Got some water on a window. No, there's motion at the house. Okay. Yeah, I got cameras. It feeds my phone stuff. Anytime somebody trips it off, it goes. Got some dry canning going on there. Lost a baby chicken. Give you some updates on stuff. Had to replant some tomatoes, cucumbers, and broccoli because the hailstorm stretched the stems on it, I believe, that was going on there. But the big deal about it is we're going to get into some news that's going around. Ohio's been kind of nice. Everybody's been nice so far. Nothing open in Illinois yet. There's not a whole lot. You can get food, but you can't sit down anywhere in Ohio. Oklahoma numbers. Let me read this off. Total cases was 5789. Deaths 272. That was up 2. Recoveries 3204. So that leaves 1,113 active cases. So they're coming back down, and we've been open for a couple weeks. So again, let me state, if you want to wear a mask or you want to wear gloves, that is your choice. Go for it. Don't make me do it. Nope, sorry. The research I've done, please do your own, says I'm not going to sit there and wear a mask, breathe the same germs in and out, starve my body of oxygen. If it's undue stress, actually weakens the immune system. That's actually proven in studies. So I'm not going to do it. And people's going to sit there and say, oh, well, they do it in China. They do it because the pollution over there is 100 times worse than it is here, and people lose their mind. But other than that, let me see. Trump says they're going to purchase $3 billion in agricultural products from farmers. That's part of a USDA $19 billion project. Okay, that's great for the farmers. It's going to help them out. That's going to, get stuff done. Hopefully it makes it to the slaughterhouses and production places. That way it can wind up in the stores and people can go buy it, and it winds up on the table and it don't wind up anywhere else. I was listening to an interview from some guys that worked at some packing plants, and they're like, we don't feel safe at work. We shouldn't have to be made to work. I'm out here working. If you're healthy, go to work. I got some friends that have asthma. I've got a daughter who's got asthma. They stay home. It's okay, whatever. But if you're healthy enough to work, please go to work. Sitting around just because, oh, well, I get extra money because I'm not working right. Lazy. No, sorry, go to work. So, back to the agricultural purposes of that. That's great. Problem is if he does it under the Defense Authorization Act, the government will see everything before the stores do. Just like in the Defense Production Act, we need masks and gowns. Government got it all first. Then it trickles down the line. That's it. That's the only bad thing that I'm seeing there. And this is exactly why it is so important to try to be self-sufficient of growing your own food, tomatoes, stuff like that. And I get questions about, man, I lost some of my tomato plants. Well, what do you mean you lost them? Well, the hail damaged them. Leave them alone, see how they act for a couple days. Make sure that the leaves can get deals, plants can heal themselves and keep growing. If they don't, you're probably going to have to do what I did, replant. It's okay. It's still cool enough to do that. Especially when you're doing it on the scale that I'm doing it on, because there's a lot of money financed there. Let me get out of here, go to my next little deal here. All right. Now, while all this is going on and everybody's freaking out because they're living in fear because they think they may get sick. And like I said, I don't know where it's at. You're going to have to run the numbers where you're at, and you should be able to get your state CDC stuff there. Is Oklahoma, you have less than a 1% chance of catching this thing. Okay. Even dying from it and I'll get to that in a minute here, because there's been a new research from Italy come over an article, and I read it. Well, it was sent to me this morning. 2 people got to read it. By the time I got to read it, it had already been deleted, gone. So why are they trying to get rid of all this information that fast? But you got HR 5717 that was introduced. Representing John Henry C. Hank Jr., Democrat, Georgia. Introduced January 30th of this year. Okay, it still says it's introduced. If you're a Second Amendment guy, you need to totally get in there and call your representative on this one, because you have to go through licensing and for firearms and ammunition. They want to change the background. It's called a universal background check. We already go through background checks. If I go buy a gun, I fill a form out. They call it FBI. Okay. They also run an NCIC on me, which is make sure that I haven't been incarcerated and all that craziness. And then they either get an answer on the spot saying no, or they say, hey, hold that. We've got 72 hours because we want to research this. And yeah, I've been held. And 3 days later, hey, come get your gun. You've been cleared. Okay, great. I'm out of town working. Well, you've got 14 days. You're going to have to jump through this hoop again. So gun-free school zones and all that. And it's amazing they still get in that. They want to ban all assault weapons, firearm silencers, and mufflers. Assault weapon. I don't have any assault weapons. I've got some sporting rifles. I've got some long rifles, and don't have any short barrel rifles. I got some pistols. I don't know where they come up with this, but first of all, if you're going to write a bill, at least get stuff correct. Never heard of a gun muffler. I've heard that term used for other things. I'm looking into getting a solvent trap. If we go in here, it says repeat industrial reform. That means they want total control of everything from this. All right. Now, it's funny because if you go in there and you sit there and read it, it don't say gun control on it. It says gun violence prevention and community safety. All right. There's been a couple people in this world use everything under the guise of safety. And millions and millions of people have died. Matter of fact, under the guise of safety in Germany, about 6 million Jews were thrown on trains and exterminated. So let's kind of go along with no. All right, but it says, all right, here, just a license, okay? Now, you have to get this license for ammunition when you purchase ammunition and when you buy a gun. It says, in general, except otherwise provided in this section, it shall be unlawful for any individual who is not licensed under this section to knowingly purchase, acquire, possession of firearm or ammunition. So that means if you own a gun right now and this thing would pass, you are now a felon. Has attained 21 years of age, has completed training in firearm safety, including a written test to demonstrate knowledge of applicable firearm laws, hands-on testing, including firing to determine safe use of the firearm as part of the process of applying. Okay, here we go. Has to submit to a background investigation criminal history check. Already do that. Every time you go buy a gun, there's no gun show loopholes or none of that crap. Trust me. You're not going to go to a gun show anywhere in this country and not have a background check to buy a gun. Including background checks in the NICB check, which they've run now to ensure individuals, has submitted a photograph. Okay, so now we want a picture of you. Has not been determined by a court in accordance with substance unable to federal firearms license. Unsuitable. Okay, that's in red flag laws. That's what they're doing with that. Is not otherwise prohibited by federal, state, tribal, local laws from possession. Okay, issuance of license no later than 40 days after the date submits the application for a federal firearm owner's license under this section. The Attorney General, get that? Not a doctor, not somebody you get to pick, somebody they pick, okay? Determines whether the individual is eligible to possess a license under this section based on its subsection, federal firearm license, blah, 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 blah. All right. What else they don't tell you is you get in here and you start reading this, you have to go through a medical examination, okay? One of their doctors. Okay, then you have to renew the license requirements, all kinds of craziness. So remember, HR 5717, the whole, let me get up here so I can read it again, because I've got my notes, I got it pulled up on a computer. The whole Gun Violence Prevention and Community Safety Act. No, you want to keep your community safety, buy a gun, learn how to use it, and when somebody gets stupid, use it. But you have to do that within accordance with laws or you'll wind up in trouble. Like Oklahoma says 5 to 7 yards if I feel threatened for my life. Sorry. So, all right. Now, goody stuff here. HR 6666. COVID-19 testing, reaching, and contacting everyone. The TRACE Act. It's $100 billion bill just this year if it passes. $100 billion this year, and we're already halfway through it. Then they want to throw that much or more next year, and every subsequent year that this could be considered an emergency, which the flu's an emergency every year. It just be an ongoing spending bill. But this gets really scary. Let me get down some of the wording here. Okay, it says to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services, nobody locally, somebody they pick again. It don't say the federal or what. I'm assuming it's federal because it's a federal bill. Okay, grants entitlements to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19, which relates activities such as tracing. Oh, so now they want to follow you. They want to know what you're doing through mobile health units and, as necessary, at individuals' residences, and for other purposes. Okay. So in general, it says Secretary of Health and Human Services acting the Director of the Center of Disease Control Prevention may award grants to eligible entities. Again, people, they get to pick. To conduct diagnostic testings for COVID-19 to trace and monitor infected individuals. That's interesting because California threw a little loophole in there and said, how can you quarantine somebody and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing if there's a single bathroom in the house? Maybe them people need to come out of the house, or maybe that sick person needs to come out. Okay, and to support the quarantine of such contacts through mobile health units. That could be a car. Could be a bus, could be a blacked out van, could be a tent in the woods. Okay, so as necessary, testing individuals, providing individuals with services related to testing and quarantine. Permissible use of funds, it says that they can go under there and they can hire, buy, train, PPE, purchase, priority, and selecting grants under this section, the Secretary, not anybody, not your doctor, anybody that has your interest in health. Okay, agreed to carry out activities unto higher residents, blah, 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 distribution, and selecting grants. The Secretary shall ensure the grants are distributed across urban and rural. Okay, now they did throw a federal privacy requirement in here. Now, that is under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 96, Public Law 104-191, Statute 110, 2033, Section 543 of the Public Health Service Act, 42 U.S.C. 290-DD-242, and there's some other ones in there. Basically says it's a HIPAA law. Says anybody can ask what we did with you, and it's private. It's medical. All right, so then you go into definitions, and it says eligible entity. Okay, well, an eligible entity is defined under the Social Security Act. Why is that under the Social Security Act? Beats me. Do your research, people. A disproportionate share of hospitals as defined under applicable state plan under Title 19 of the Social Security Act. Okay. Then it goes down to where it says an academic, medical center, nonprofit, including such faith-based organizations. I could go down that road and say, okay, no problem. Y'all don't want to play ball and tell us what we want to know. We're going to pull your nonprofit status. Bad deal. High school, that means teachers are going to be all in this, okay? Elementary Secondary Act of 1965. Term of emergency period. That's the Social Security Act again. What's in the Social Security Act that they're using so much of that for? Term hotspot. Again, Social Security Act. Term medically underserviced community. That's in Public Health Service Act, another public health. So you're looking at a bunch of health bills and Social Security Acts that cover this one up to get some stuff going on. But there at the bottom it says $100 billion for fiscal year 2020, and the sums of such that keeps on going. This here's why we need to stay informed. You'll never hear about this on the news. It's all word of mouth. People that actually getting this out of there, and we're reading it right off the government website, and all kinds of craziness is going on with us in our videos. That's exactly why you need to learn how to grow your own food, plant the seeds, grow it, bring it to come up, get the seeds to come around, and learn how to save the seeds. Chickens, remember, chicken egg a day, that's protein. It's all the protein a body needs is an egg a day. Rabbits, they're quite resilient every 28 days. As long as you feed them and take care of them, you ain't got to worry about the weevils, the old wives' tale of, oh, you can't kill a rabbit till after the first frost. Yeah, you're going to cook it, it don't matter. It's not going to get in there and eat you up anyhow. But we're going to do another one later on this week. I just got to see this, had a couple minutes to sit there and say this needs to get out, put out there and do what it does. Again, if you find these videos helpful, useful, interesting, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button. That way you know whenever I send one up, because I go through my phone and I just start sending it to a bunch of people. Please help me out. Let's grow this channel. It's up to y'all to help do that. We do love you very, very, very much. It's up to y'all, and that's why we do this. Stay vigilant. Be safe. Till next time.